We apologize for starting behind schedule on the news, but we're glad to bring you the stories that we have for you at this hour. I am Lekon Onobanjo. We begin on this sad note. At least 27 people were feared dead following a stampede in Okija, Ihiala local government area of Anambra State. The tragic incident occurred during a Christmas rice distribution event organized by a local foundation to aid the less privileged. It was gathered that victims were mostly women and children who were gathered at the gate, struggling to gain entrance amid a very large and uncontrollable crowd. Several injured victims were rushed to the local hospital, while the bodies of the deceased were taken to the morgue. The annual charity event, spearheaded by philanthropist and chieftain of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Ernest Obejisi, known as Obi Jackson, turned deadly due to the overwhelming crowd. Meanwhile, Anambra State Police operatives have taken over the scene in Okija for proper investigation. In a related development, at least 10 people, including children, are feared dead and several others sustained injuries during a stampede at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Maitama, Abuja on Saturday morning. The incident occurred as thousands of residents scrambled to receive palliatives distributed by the church. The event, organized to provide relief to struggling residents, drew over 3,000 people, mostly from Mpape, Gishiri village, and other nearby settlements. The National Director of Social Communications at the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, Padre Mike Umo, confirmed the tragic development, noting the suspension of the palliative distribution. Still on stampedes, President Bola Tinubu has cancelled all his official engagements in Lagos, including his planned attendance at the 2024 Lagos Boat Regatta to honor the victims of the tragic stampedes in Abuja and Okija, Anambra State. The twin tragedies claimed several lives and left many injured, prompting the president to forego the regatta, which he was set to watch from the waterfront of his Queen's Drive residence in Ikoyi. In a statement issued on Saturday by Bayo Nonuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, it was revealed that dignitaries, including top Lagos state officials and white cap chiefs, were already in attendance when the President decided to cancel his appearance after being briefed on the incidents. We now talk about the stampede incident that I told you earlier that happened in Abuja. And of course, we have our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, who will be bringing us the updates now.
Behind me here is the Holy Trinity Catholic Church here in Maitama, Abuja, where it all went down. What was supposed to be a charitable event ended up disastrous, with a good amount of people losing their life. Based on reports, 10 people have lost their life, out of which 4 are children, and 8 people are currently in the hospital as we speak. We tried getting a feel of the entire environment and what's happening inside, but we met a severe resistance from officials of the parish who asked us to immediately leave or get our equipment broken. There was back and forth between these 2 people, and later on, we decided to leave.
Let's also tell you that the Nigeria Police Force has warned groups and individuals planning to organize fanfares or distribute palliatives without involving security agencies, saying that any negligence resulting to the death of citizens will be treated as a criminal offense. These followed 2 recorded incidences in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and Ihiala local government area of Anambra State, which tragically resulted to the loss of about 13 persons, including children, during the distribution of palliatives. The force public relations officer expressed concern over the unfortunate incidents, saying that unorganized distribution of palliatives and fanfares pose a significant threat to public safety.
In light of this development, the IGP has called on government officials, community leaders, and non-governmental organizations to work collaboratively towards establishing a comprehensive and organized framework for distributing palliatives. The IGP has hereby warned groups and organizers of similar events to ensure the involvement of security agencies, particularly the Nigerian police force, as negligence on their part is criminal and would not be overlooked, as provided for in Section 196 of the Penal Code and Section 344 of the Criminal Code laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
May the soul of the dearly departed be granted eternal rest. Away from that, a former Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has attributed the North's current state of backwardness to its leaders. He also urged Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu in transforming the nation through the tax reform bills currently awaiting the endorsement of the National Assembly. Dogara spoke as a guest speaker at a town hall meeting for Christian leaders in northern Nigeria. The former speaker lamented that Arewa political leaders mismanaged opportunities to lead Nigeria for over 40 years, leaving the region plagued with poverty and underdevelopment. According to Dogara, Northerners should resist the temptation to blame President Tinubu for the North's current plight. To discuss this, we're joined by a public affairs analyst, Ahmed Uzaini. Good evening, Mr. Uzaini. Hello, Mr. Uzaini, can you hear me? I guess we'll try to see how we can connect with Mr. Ahmed Uzaini to get more details from him as regards what his perspective is on this particular matter. Let me just try one more time. Mr. Uzaini, can you hear me? All right. We'll bring you some other stories anyway. But then we go on a very short break right now. Nigerian government denies involvement in Niger pipeline attack. We will bring you more details when we return. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's now tell you that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has refuted recent media reports alleging that the Port Harcourt Refinery, which was restreamed 2 months ago, has been shut down. In a statement signed by the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the NNPCL, the company described the reports as baseless and untrue. The statement urged the public to remain calm, emphasizing that the refinery continues to operate as expected. NNPCL also reassured the public that preparations for daily loading operations are currently in progress at the refinery. The company affirmed that the facility remains fully operational, with its activities recently inspected and verified by the former group managing directors of the NNPCL. Meanwhile, President of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, has commended President Bola Tinubu for the positive impact of the Naira for crude swap deal on the Nigerian economy, which has led to lower petroleum prices. The refinery also announced its partnership with MRS Petroleum Station to sell petrol from its retail outlets nationwide at 935 Naira per litre, ensuring the reduction benefits consumers. The refinery had earlier announced a price drop to 899 Naira 50 kobo per litre for marketers, coupled with credit facilities to ease distribution. The price cuts have sparked competition in the downstream sector, with NNPCL Limited reducing its price to 899 Naira per litre. Dangote urged other marketers to collaborate in providing high-quality petrol at affordable rates. The Naira for crude policy, implemented in October, has also eased pressure on the dollar and stabilized the Naira. In the meantime, the federal government of Nigeria has denied allegations by Nigerian authorities of involvement in the December 13 attack on the Niger-Benin oil pipeline in Gaya-Doso region, Niger Republic. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kimebi Ebienfa refuted claims that Nigerian security forces collaborated with the Lakurawa terrorist group in the incident. The government expressed condolences to Niger over the attack, but emphasized its commitment to combating terrorism and dissociating itself from such groups. Nigeria also dismissed allegations of French military presence in northern Nigeria aimed at destabilizing Niger, calling them baseless. Reaffirming its cordial relations with both Niger and France, Nigeria underscored its dedication to peaceful and cooperative ties based on mutual respect and non-interference. Let's now tell you that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has revealed that the military is holding discussions with the federal government regarding the engagement of military retirees. According to him, military retirees have acquired significant capabilities that should not be allowed to go to waste. He emphasized that retirees should be considered for board appointments, expressing confidence that they could have a greater impact outside active service. The defense chief spoke during a 2024 send-off cocktail party organized to honor 18 retired and retiring generals. Musa urged the retired and retiring generals to remain prepared to serve the nation when called upon, noting that discussions about their engagement are still ongoing. Earlier on the news, we told you that a former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has attributed the North's current state of backwardness to its leaders, saying that after having ruled Nigeria for over 40 years, underdevelopment and poverty still characterizes the region. We now have to talk to someone, a public affairs analyst, Ahmed Uzaini, who would give more perspective and understanding to the statement. Good evening to you, Mr. Ahmed Uzaini.
Hello, good evening.
It's nice to have you around. So I'd like to get your opinion as regards what the former speaker said, attributing the backwardness and poverty played out in the northern region of Nigeria to leadership defaults.
I think for me, I think this is a situation where both the messenger and the messenger, where there's problem with both the messenger and the message. I will start with the message first. Yeah, I believe that it is not only northern Nigeria that is suffering from bad leadership. It is the whole of Nigeria, north, south, east, wherever you turn to. Nigerians are suffering, and Nigeria itself is suffering from bad leadership, bad governance, and poor leadership at all levels, whether be it at the local, state, or federal. And when it comes to the messenger, I think the former speaker is just trying to ingratiate himself to the presidency. If you look at his political antecedent, he's someone who was initially opposed to Mr. President's candidacy, before the 2023 election, and now after the election, he's trying to find his way back into the president cycle. And I think he's looking at. I think he's seen things like this as an opportunity for him actually to warm up, to back into the president's grace. But on the whole, I think, regarding the message, it's not only northern Nigeria that has, the issue of poor leadership. It is the whole of the country, and we must do something about it. And I think all the elites, actually, our political, traditional, economic, they all stand to, share part of the blame for the poor, state of affairs developmentally across the country. And the former speaker himself, unfortunately, is also part of those people. He's part of the northern elite. He's part of the Nigerian elite, whether he likes it or not, and I think he also is part of the problem, not the solution in this case.
But then, according to statistics, about 65% of the poor, looking at around 86 million people in the north, are said to be living in poverty compared to the south that has just 35%. And I guess that's what the former speaker is actually talking about in terms of the scale. So when you look at that, what do you think are the critical steps that need to be taken by northern elites to change this narrative?
Yeah, I agree with that statistic that comparatively the north is actually faring worse than the south developmentally. If you look at the incidence of poverty, and other human development indices, the north is quite lagging behind the south in this aspect. And when you look at northern Nigeria as a country and southern Nigeria as a country, you can see the disparity in very clear terms. And I believe what we can do, it is like imperative on northern stakeholders, the leaders, traditionals, economic, political, at all levels to actually come together to put some drastic measures that will actually put northern Nigeria on the path of sustainable economic development and prosperity. But to do that, I think it requires, the cohesive efforts of all of leadership at all levels. But the major responsibility actually lies in the leadership of the northern states. State governors across the 19 northern states have a lot to actually contribute to actually change the development Mr. President. There is a lot, as we can see with the developmental, outcomes in different states across the country. I believe there is a lot that states can actually do, independent of the federal government, to actually bring some form of development to their people and, changing this narrative of poverty, underdevelopment, and insecurity that is bedeviling northern Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed Husseini, Public Affairs Analyst, for sharing your thoughts with us.
It's my pleasure.
We'll now go on a short break on the news. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Many thanks for staying with us. Earlier on the news, we told you about stampede incidents that happened in Abuja, Anambra, and some other areas in the country that claimed lives, and most especially children in those incidences where food palliatives were shared to them. And now to bring this to the fore, I have joining me a public affairs analyst, Jide Ojo. Thank you so much, Mr. Jide Ojo, for your patience and your time on the news.
It's my pleasure, Lekon. Good evening. Compliments of the season.
Same to you, sir. So in Ibadan, 35 children, in Abuja, 10, 27 in Anambra, all these people or persons died while palliatives were being distributed in a humanitarian cause. And Nigerians are asking the questions, how grim is the suffering the Nigerians are being faced with right now, leading to this?
Look, on the truth that stares you and I and many Nigerians in the face is that the country is going through an excruciating poverty and hunger level. And this is what has become manifest, because it's not the first time palliative will be shared. We've been hearing of palliatives, at least in the recent times, since the time of COVID-19. And not in 2020, 2021, 22, 23 have we witnessed a kind of unprecedented carnage and death as a result of going for just one or two noodles of rice. Beyond the incidents in Ibadan, Okija, and Abuja, you recall that even on February 23 this year, while the Nigerian Customs Service was trying to sell cheap rice, I think they asked people to pay 20,000 for 50 kilograms of rice that was seized. 7 people died in Lagos in a stampede. That was on February 23. In March, at the nearby Nasarawa State University, 2 students of Nasarawa State University were, trampled upon and they died, while the palliative that was given by the Nasarawa State government was being distributed to the students. And now we have seen in quick succession, last Thursday, 19th of December, in Oyo State, 35 children, still counting, dead. And Okija, 27 still counting, dead. And Abuja, 10 still counting, dead. This tells you the story that the economy is not doing well, in spite of what the handlers of the economy may want to tell Nigerians. Because like I said, it's not the first time palliatives will be distributed.
Okay.
So how come it's going awry at this season? Well, why is it that more people than expected are not turning up to collect just a token of relief materials that we will serve them for two days?
Well, government will say that it provided palliatives and interventions to businesses and households. And recently, the House of Reps will be delivering over 704 million naira to Nigerians to cushion the effect of the hardship. And some people would say maybe that is enough.
It's not enough and can never be enough. I think one, the model. I mean, we can't rule out the fact that at seasons like this, friends and family reach out to loved ones to assist them to have a joyful Christmas and New Year celebrations. And it is part of the tradition, global phenomenon, that this happens. So we cannot say that this should be stopped. But I think in future, when we are having this kind of palliative distribution, it should be better coordinated with security agencies, helping to cordon off and streamline and make sure that the crowd, there is adequate crowd control at such venues where palliatives will be given. But beyond that, we could also look at perhaps, rather than asking people to come and take foodstuff, you can monetize it, collect their bank account, and make it like a conditional cash transfer, which the federal government is doing. Because that way, it is seamless. You just say, okay, if you know you are in dire need, come and register from so date to so date. They will have registered before the day of the disbursement.
Okay.
And on the day of disbursement, all you just do is to transfer the money to them. So they can buy whatever foodstuff they want to buy, rather than having venues of palliative distribution turning to killing fields. This is quite unfortunate, but the larger solution to all of this is to improve the economy so that people will stop turning out in droves. They will stop turning out in droves for this kind of tokenism. Because whatever it is, whether it's the 700 million that the House of Reps want to share or the other intervention of the state government, it still amounts to tokenism. Many of these people collect maybe 2 kg, 5 kg of rice. A family of 4, how long will it take them to eat off 5 kilogram of rice? Can it last them for 1 week? And also, there are other condiments that they would need. And so people are really high up. It tells the story of how acute hunger is really plaguing Nigeria at this point.
Okay.
And like I said, we need to just look into how to improve the welfare of citizens of this country so that this issue of palliative will stop to be very attractive to them as a means of solving their hunger pangs.
And do you think the criminalizing of the situation in terms of the humanitarian cause leading to some sort of carnage or death, do you think that is right by the IGP?
I think that is unfortunate. We shouldn't criminalize this. Whether you talk of Ibadan, Okija or Abuja, this is not an exploitative humanitarian assistance. It is purely a gesture that is in sync with a season of love, a season of merriment like Christmas. And it is not the first time. This is a time-honored festive gestures where people share, even offices share foodstuffs to their staff to enable them to enjoy Christmas. State governments do same for civil servants and all of that. So I think it would be wrong to criminalize this. What I think should be done by the security agencies, that whether they are invited or not, when they have this kind of situation, they should avail themselves to help coordinate and control the crowd. They should just not wait for them to be invited, because their primary responsibility is ensuring law and order. So wherever they see a chaotic situation, they don't have to say, oh, we were not invited. If you were not invited and you are a law enforcement and you see a surging crowd and you have the expertise to help bring the situation under control, then you should do it. you should do it. So I don't think it's right for the IG or the Nigerian police to criminalize these kind gestures by the various philanthropies. It's a time-honored gesture. It's just that this 2024, it tells the story that our hunger situation has become so acute that people will struggle to even get a 1 kilogram of rice
Yes.
or other foodstuffs.
Yeah, we
And
understand.
that is just the story that this brings to mind. And we need to do something. Government at different levels needs to do something on how to alleviate hunger and poverty in the land.
And we hope this will not happen again. Hopefully, we pray. Thank you so much, Jide Ojo, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
It's my pleasure. Compliment.
Yes, compliments of the season to you too. Let's take you through sports now. Chinenye Okafor of Abia State claimed the under-15 women's title at the Daniel Ford Elite Table Tennis Championship, defeating Lagos State player at the Saife Lua in a thrilling final at the Molade Okoye Thomas Hall in Surulere, Lagos. Okafor dominated the early stages, winning the first two sets 11-6, 11-6. At his effort back, forcing a decisive fifth set, but Okafor held on to secure victory with another 11-6 win. In the under-15 boys final, Abdulhamid Adebayo of Lagos State staged an impressive comeback from 2 sets down to overcome Kogi's Dada Samuel in a nail-biting 5-set match, winning 3-2. Both finals showcased the rising stars of Nigerian table tennis in an electrifying atmosphere. On the news at this hour. But before we go, let's look at our top stories. At least 33 have been feared dead, several injured in Anambra-Abuja stampedes. Nigerian government denied its involvement in the Niger Republic pipeline attack. We also told you that French president has highlighted Djibouti's strategic importance to Indo-Pacific strategy. Don't forget to watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avel TV, and YouTube.